So we got Tedy Bruschi ready to go here. So, Tedy, wonderful to see you again. Thank you after yesterday. Ted, Brew, look what you've walked into the middle of here.
What's up, fellas?
So the Patriots have chosen Jerod Mayo, no surprise, to be the successor to Bill Belichick. What is your reaction?
Yeah, really not surprised at all. It's almost like Jerod has, the relationship with Mr. Kraft, the grooming of being a coach that has worked himself up through the ranks in terms of being almost like the de facto defensive coordinator with Brian Belichick there. I think you're getting the best of both worlds with Jerod, having played with him for 1 year and having known him for years personally, that there's a little bit of Bill Belichick in him, but then there's not. And I think that's really what the combination that they're looking for is someone that knows the foundation, knows the structure, especially knows the defensive philosophies and game plans and techniques and how to coach them. But also, before Jerod got into coaching, he ventured into the business world and where he had to develop relationships and had to basically communicate with a lot of people on a level type of basis. So in terms of what they're looking for in the organization, sort of the new age, everyone on the same page, not having one voice that has all of the answers, all of the solutions and final say, but someone that's willing to work and can work with a lot of people. They got the right guy here in Jerod Mayo.
You were saying exactly that.
That's exactly what I said when we spoke about this, when we heard the news. It's to have that understanding of the X's and O's, how to delegate the way a guy like Bill Belichick did. But when Damien Woody said, be authentic to self, I said, don't let that new hat and that new hair, that new chair change you, right? Find a way to continue to relate to the players the way that you did. Find a way to be adjustable and malleable to what needs to be done. And it seems like Jerod Mayo is that from listening to Tedy Bruschi.
Because you know what it's about?
Yeah.
Relationships.
And the fact that also, guys, Jerod can also be difficult to work with also. I don't think he's afraid to ruffle feathers. He even talked about that publicly last week, but having known him, he doesn't really care what people think sometimes, even if you're working with them. And I think that's the success of a head coach, being able to tell the truth sometimes when it's not really wanted.
But you see, that's really good. Like, that's what you want from a head coach, is somebody that can scale leadership, hold people accountable. The coaches that have failed are the ones that don't do that well, that are passive aggressive. But Greeny, the big thing is going to be he has to be able to do that, and to be able to spend the time with the players, he has to rely on a really strong, experienced staff so he doesn't get consumed with things that he doesn't want to deal with.
What were you going to say?
No, the biggest thing I took from what Brew was talking about was his time in the business world and how it just shaped like relationships, because that's what almost like this new age is all about right now. It's about how are you able to communicate, with these new players, and I think that's where Jerod Mayo will bridge come from one world with Coach Belichick into a new world, his world, where you're able to relate to these players and talk to them on the level that they understand.
So that's the decision that they make there. And then we circle back if we can. I'm told we have some microphone issues with Tedy, so we'll try and get him back in a few minutes. But we circle back to the Belichick of it all. We are sitting here speculating about what it is that he wants. He's interviewing people. But you were telling us this morning before the show, Dan, that there is one place that most of the league is pointing to with an expectation that that's where he's going.
The one you keep hearing is Atlanta. And that's, for whatever reason, I guess the roster's good. They were a borderline, almost playoff team this year. Going to need to figure out quarterback, and that's no small thing. But they have a situation where their salary cap is in pretty good shape. Their offensive line is pretty much signed, and they have some really good young talent on offense. If they can find the quarterback, it might be a situation where he could win quickly.
RC, if you're Atlanta, you trade a second-round pick to Chicago for Justin Fields, and you put him in there, and then you bring in Bill Belichick.
You go win the NFC South next year. When you look at what Justin Fields did down the stretch of this season, a coach like Bill Belichick who understands defense with a team that played well defensively, they just couldn't find the right player for that position. With all those skilled players around, that's a team you'd want to be on.
That's the other thing, too. It only takes 8-9 wins to win the NFC South.
The champion is
I'm not kidding. See, I hedged my bet. I didn't go above that, Grimes.
You know what's so interesting to me? If you look at Bill Belichick, the team builder, he acquired offensive players he struggled defending. Slot receivers, tight ends, running backs who could catch. I think Justin Fields is one of those quarterbacks that would give him trouble as a defensive coach.
I always go back to who are the players that caused you the most trouble.
Right. Yeah.
Remember that Monday night game when Justin Fields just went nuclear up in Foxborough? You don't think that sits in Bill Belichick's mind as well?
I'm told I have Tedy back for just a quick second. Tedy, final word on all this. Go ahead, Ted.
In terms of Bill Belichick, I think we have to watch this weekend in terms of what teams do well and what teams don't do well, because you got to put your mind you put yourself in the mind of an owner, and an owner that would be tired of going to the playoffs and losing. An owner would be tired of going just wants a Super Bowl. Basically.
Speak on it there, Tedy.
And these owners get desperate because they are playing fantasy football up there sometimes, and maybe it's one of these playoff teams that see him and are really looking at how their team does this weekend.
Here we go. Time to make the AFC predictions.
My first time I got two pair of goggles on.
In our second hour, we will do the NFC. All right, we'll start with Pittsburgh and Buffalo. That's the first one we're going to do here. We got the Bills are a 10-point home favorite. Steelers, Bills smash.
Pick the right.
Oh, I'm hit.
Yeah. Oh, you got.
I took that. Yes, I took the shrapnel.
Yeah, you took the shrapnel.
Why would he smash the Steeler helmet?
Oh, yeah.
Anyone? Does anyone? Is there a path?
Oh, that's the game. Okay.
Is there a path? Everyone here, RC, is there a path for the Steelers on Sunday?
Yeah, you hope that this weather is bad enough, that's extremely ugly late, that you can run the football.
That's right.
And find a way to kick a field goal to win.
We're not allowed to say this on this show, but sometimes the Buffalo quarterback will turn the ball over.
No!
It happens.
Shut up.
We're not allowed. I get in trouble.
Okay, don't say it.
It's made funnier, I think, by Graziano in the outfit, by the way.
What outfit?
All right, next one is Dolphins-Chiefs. We got the cold weather game there. Right now I'm looking at Kansas City -5. Smash the loser. Oh.
That's a good one. That's a good smash.
But you know what? Someone got these things glued down really good.
Really well.
Really well. I shout out to whoever that was.
Not the
Guys,
first
how
time.
much of a RC? Tua Tagovailoa has played 4 career NFL games when the temperature was below 45 degrees. He's 0-4 in those games. This is going to be -30.
Yeah, I mean, what better for a Polynesian from Hawaii that played at Alabama? I think that pretty much sums it up.
But you know what's too bad? We talked about, Kansas City's vulnerable this year. Their tackles lead the league in penalties. Unfortunately, Jalen Phillips and Chubb are out, so Miami can't exploit Kansas City's weakness.
Literally signing dudes off the street to rush the passer. Tua Tagovailoa does not own clothes like this. They're not in his closet.
I'm going to say one last thing. When it's that cold, it doesn't matter who we talk about.
Everybody cold.
Everybody is cold and miserable.
Browns-Texans. I've got the Texans, a 2-point home dog. Smash the loser. Oh, he likes wow.
He's wrong.
Wow.
He's wrong.
You are wrong.
Oh, you smashed the wrong helmet.
You should smash the Browns.
It's the only one we have disagreement on.
D'Amico Ryans, C.J. Stroud, his defense playing better. Some of those young athletes that they've drafted the last couple of years have started to make plays. I believe that the Houston Texans win. I've also heard that Denzel Ward had an injury at practice.
Got hurt yesterday.
The other thing
Questionable.
is, Cleveland's turning the ball over a lot with Joe Flacco at quarterback.
They do.
It catches up. You can't turn the ball
Joe
over.
Flacco's playing quarterback like a man that was retired. He don't care. YOLO.
Is there a point at which, because I've heard all you guys say, oh, well, you know what? The cold doesn't really bother it.
Yeah.
It's going to be so cold.
No,
this is going to be one of those legendary cold games.
Yeah, no, most of the time I say that, but when you're talking about -30 wind chill, that's on a whole nother level. Like, I played in a game where it was cold, somewhere cold like that, where literally we're players on the field, we're talking, we don't even care who wins the game. We just want to get the hell off the field. Okay, so yeah, don't get it twisted now. Like, when it's that cold,
Run the clock.
no. We trying to get up out of it.
The piece that everybody misses that is we're all flesh and bone though.
Right.
Just because you play in Kansas City or you play in New England doesn't mean that you get used to the cold more than people who play in warm weather states. Everybody cold.
Yeah,
we can all feel it in our nuggets. It ain't no different for me than it is for you.
I will say this though, when you're playing those snow games, the one advantage that we have offensively is we know where we're going. Okay, you guys reacting to what we're doing, so we always felt like we had somewhat of an advantage in that.
I feel like what happens is though, when y'all get the football, we can't do nothing but run straight. Right, you look at.
I'm not worried about pass rush, none of that.
So when the conditions are bad, it always favors the defense. which is why having one mistake defensively, having those turnovers become all important in games like this.
Let me ask you, though, I mean, look, the reality, you can say that everyone's cold, and everyone will be, but Tua Tagovailoa is from Hawaii. He played in Alabama. He plays in South Florida now. He's 0-4 in games under 40 degrees. This game is going to be 70 degrees colder than 40 degrees. It has to be a disadvantage, doesn't it?
No, I think it is a disadvantage, but the disadvantage doesn't go because of where he hails from. The disadvantage may be the fact that he's not a strong-armed quarterback.
Or just
it may be the fact that he plays with anticipation. And it also could be that when he's cold, he's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to tell you, everybody's uncomfortable when it's cold.
But
it's about what sort of, it's about what matters to you. What sort of mentality are you going to have? And I don't think Tua Tagovailoa's game translates to cold weather. Tua Tagovailoa's game translates to inclement, to high winds. And I think all those things play a factor.
And by the way, just so you know, we at ESPN do take that into account when we hand out our assignments as well. Seth Markman, who runs the NFL department here, he knows the right people to send to the cold weather games. Graziano's going to Buffalo this weekend, and he's ready to go.
You say that, but he's sending Darlington to Kansas City.
That's not going to be good.
Yeah, you got to go from Miami to Kansas City.
I don't think there'll be any on-field reporting. It'll be all from the press box.
It's being pointed out that Graziano looked like a minion in that, right? A little bit like a minion.